Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk about what to do when you are struggling to witch. So I picked just a couple things just to get started. There is a variety of reasons that you might be struggling or finding that like trying to do witchcraft is really challenging for you right now. So this is just a couple things that hopefully get the ball rolling for you and just give you some ideas of things to try. So number one, create a routine. This might seem really small and insignificant and like you don't really want to, but just as simple as before I have my cup of coffee, I'm going to say some gratitude, or I'm going to do some affirmations, or I'm going to give an offering of some incense before I go to work or before I have my cup of coffee in the morning, or when I get home I'm going to, meditate for 5 minutes, or I'm going to do some daily divine dialogue, or I'm going to read a witchy book for 20 minutes before I go to bed. Something witchy, or you're gonna go for a nature walk on your lunch instead of just scrolling through TikTok. Like something that you can fit into your schedule that just is just a little bit of whatever your craft is, just a tiny bit to get started. That's usually the hardest part. Once you get a little bit going, you can add a little more and a little more, but just starting somewhere and make it part of your routine. And if you don't have good routines, that's also a good place to start, because you do have a routine whether you know it or not. It just might not be the most functional of routines. Also, start off small. If you want to be a witch, you want to do all of these things, when you first start you're really excited and you have a lot of that motivation, and then inevitably it starts to fizzle out because it's not new and shiny and pretty anymore and it's actually a lot of work. So start doing small things. You don't need to do a big elaborate ritual, but under the full moon, go stand there for 5 minutes. Work on a gratitude practice, or start journaling, or start learning the tarot. Pick a card a day that you're going to start to learn about, or same with the runes. You're just going to pick one and start learning it either that week or that month, and just start learning about it. Again, just start off with something small. Maybe you want to know more about the moon, so you're going to work on learning about the full moon this month. Doesn't have to be this week, doesn't have to be today, just something small that you're going to start working towards. Also figure out the why. Why do you feel like you're not a witch enough? What is the problems that you're feeling? And what ways can you work towards fixing these problems that you've got? For example, are you struggling to be a witch because you actually don't really know what you want to do for the full moon? Are you struggling to be a witch because you feel like it's too complicated to celebrate the summer solstice? Do you feel like sitting down to do meditation is too boring? Start asking yourself the whys and what ways can you change it. If you don't like meditation, what meditation technique are you trying? Do something different. There are countless different ways. There's Tai Chi, there's yoga, there's the sitting down kind of classic just focusing on your breathing, there's guided meditations. There's a whole host of stuff that counts. Even art can count as meditation, like coloring and painting. Just start asking yourself the why, like figuring out why you feel like you're struggling so much to do your witchcraft. And it could be things that are out of your control. You don't feel like you have enough time because you are married and you have kids and you work full-time and you have pets and you're pulled in 16 different directions. And to be a witch is just, it feels like it's not feasible right now. Why do you want to be a witch in the first place then? Is there things you can do small? If you're already cooking dinner, add some magic into it. Or if you're walking your dog, do like an act of meditation or daily divine dialogue as you're doing that. Again, there's ways to incorporate it, and maybe you're struggling not just in witchcraft, but that's where you're noticing it. Look at your overall life, see where your struggles are, work on those things. Again, if you feel like you don't have the time, it's that classic saying, if you don't have 15 minutes to meditate, you need to meditate for an hour a day. Same thing with witchcraft. You can fit it in. You need to analyze where you're spending your time and what you can change. And then lastly, if you're struggling to witch because it is just kind of boring and it feels monotonous and you're just kind of like, I know and I like it, but it doesn't have the pizzazz that it used to, change it up. If you've only been celebrating the full moons, celebrate the new moons. If you've been doing those, celebrate the quarters instead. First quarter and last quarter, change it up a little bit. If you do your affirmations and altar time in the morning, try it at night or in the middle of the day. Instead of going and sitting at the altar for a meditation and doing a card reading, go for a walk and do some just casual daily divine dialogue. And if you're still feeling pretty stagnant, always just go check out some books on different paths. There are so many different books out there that you could choose from that cover a variety of different paths. You don't necessarily need to go like from Wicca to Asatru, but like you could pick up, any book that you pick up, the authors are going to have a different viewpoint. If you compare Scott Cunningham, DJ Conway, Silver Ravenwolf, Raymond Buckland, and Christopher Penczak, they're very different. in their methodologies of how to be a witch. It's super different. Like, there's some overlaps, but there's some other stuff that's very different, and it might pique your interest and get you started again. Again, you can also look into other things, reading about different traditions that are out there. You might get into fairies or dragons. You might want to get into specific pantheons, start learning more about those. Pagan Portals has like a huge series of various different deities if you want to switch it up that way. They're very small books, but give you kind of a brief introduction to them. So anyways, this was just a few ideas to get started when you feel like you are struggling to witch. Again, it might seem like it's almost too simple, but really if you start to implement those things, you should notice a change. And if you are struggling with anything else that these things don't really fall into, please let me know in the comments down below and we can do like a part 2 to this. As always, do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts, post there pretty often as well. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.